What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Sport Saviors, and today I'm going to be talking about Game 4 of the Jazz and Rockets series that took place last night. And just to clarify for some of you that may be watching, I'm going to be talking about this solely from a Jazz perspective because I am a Jazz fan, just to clarify for some of you. So the Jazz won 107-91. I really thought that the game played out extremely similarly to Game 3. Like, at least as far as the scoreline, it was very close throughout the game, except the only difference was the Jazz obviously were able to pull it out in the fourth quarter, and they didn't shut down like they normally do. Donovan Mitchell started off really slow in the first half. I think he only had 6 points at halftime, but Rubio and Crowder were able to step up when it mattered in the first half, and especially in the first quarter when nobody was able to make a basket. And Crowder stepped up huge. I think he had the first 9 points for us. That was massive. You think if you take those 9 points off the board, you don't know how different the game could have been. Donovan was able to step up and hit some big shots in the second half. That was the game changer, in my opinion. There were a lot of game changers, which I'm going to get into right now, but that was extremely important, obviously. So here's some reasons why we won. Like I said, players stepped up to fill in for Donovan while he wasn't playing up to his normal standard. An absolutely massive key was Royce O'Neal's defense on James Harden. He was locking him down, basically. And as the game progressed, it seemed like the Rockets were trying to get a switch to either put Donovan Mitchell to guard James Harden and get a switch so he can do his little driving to the paint antics that he always does and flop and stuff. But Royce O'Neal wasn't going to let that happen. And even when Harden tried to do his 3-point flop thing, you could just see how smart Royce O'Neal was playing him, and he wasn't even making contact. He just stuck his arms straight up and let Harden fall to the ground, and the referees didn't call it most of the time. If you remember last year when the Jazz played the Rockets in the playoffs, we had Dante Exum, who could kind of shut down Harden, but at the same time he wasn't he was the best thing that we had to shut him down at the time. But because Dante Exum is about as fragile as Russell Westbrook's feelings, he's not able to play. Another key, I think, was the frustration of the Rockets. I think we really frustrated them. Again, with the Royce O'Neal defense, I think that got in Harden's head, and all he wanted to do was get the switch because he couldn't deal with he couldn't deal with Royce O'Neal's defense. So I talked about this in my last video that I did on Game 3 when we lost, and I talked about how slow our pace became in the fourth quarter and how Donovan Mitchell just dribbled the ball for the first 15 seconds, and then we just scrambled to try and score. And that's not the Utah Jazz's game. And I think that our pace in the fourth quarter was much faster when it needed to be. Shots were getting off earlier, and we were getting much better shots. Now, when we did build up a little bit of a lead, that was when our pace started to slow down a little bit, which is how it should be, because we took precious time off the clock. And I'll move on to my next point, which ties into this. Quinn Snyder's decision to play Favors as the 5 down the stretch, and put Rudy, the Defensive Player of the Year, on the bench. We were able to get a lot of more rebounds, offensive boards, and which took a lot of precious time off the clock. I think he did this because Favors has a lot more strength and a lot more presence around the rim, because Rudy hasn't been able to consistently get boards, especially offensive boards, throughout this series. Even though Favors was playing the backup 5 all game, he didn't play a 1 second of power forward. He was able to out-rebound Rudy in this game, 9-11, and their minutes were significantly different. So that just shows you how, well, I wouldn't say better, but at least in this series, Favors has done better with rebounding the ball. My next point is that D Faves and D Mitch were stepping up when it mattered most, which I've already talked about, but just thought I'd say it one more time. The next point, our pure determination, and we didn't give up. You can just see it sometimes, and I've watched every single Jazz game this year, and you can always see it in Donovan Mitchell, but every now and then you can just see it in this kid's eyes. Just the pure determination. And last but not least, the sixth man all night. The crowd in that building last night was just going crazy. They were motivating the players a little bit more, just in case the players need a little bit more motivation, which we obviously aren't going to have going into Game 5 because we're going to be in Houston, obviously. So in conclusion, what I saw last night was a team with a lot of heart that said we aren't going down without a fight, a team that showed up with a lot of class and willpower to extend this series to a Game 5. A lot of teams would have gave up when they found themselves up against the ropes about to get knocked out. The Jazz got up and laid a couple punches. Let's hope that they can turn the fight around in Game 5 and continue to take it one game at a time and continue to play some smart basketball. I know that Quinn Snyder has the best interests for this team and in this team, and I know that he might have to make some adjustments for Game 5. And I know that he has the respective players to trust his decisions. You can take Favors getting benched, he's not starting, and how he's not playing power forward like I said before, and how he's accepted his new role in this series. You can take Rudy, Defensive Player of the Year, hopefully going to become 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He sat in crunch time in Game 4 when the season was on the line. And he was up and cheering on his teammates, and you could tell that he had accepted his role in that situation. I'm going to be making a Game 5 video as well, and I'd appreciate it if you guys gave it a watch as well. Thank you for watching.